rights was introduced and then passed. Previous to 9/11, this is the worst case of terrorism in the history of our nation, and we as citizens should demand to reopen the case and find out the truth. Please read Final Report by the Oklahoma Bombing Investigation Committee, 1-800-334-5597, or www.bombing.tv. 3. The TWA 800 flight. The government's story is that the plane had a faulty wiring system that caused the explosion, which killed over 200 people. The problem with this story is that there are over 700 witnesses that say they saw missile plumes rapidly rise from the ocean and take out the plane. Furthermore, prominent engineers and military experts have also testified that the plane was downed by a rocket. Again, government agencies are covering up the truth. Please get and watch the film Silenced, Flight 800 and the Subversion of Justice. www.thevideopost.com or call 1-888-411-6277. 4. The bombing of Serbia, Bosnia, and Iraq. Acting upon the orders of Bill Clinton, our armed forces have made war by bombing neighborhoods and schools in each of these countries, killing hundreds of innocent citizens. In our Constitution, it clearly says that the Congress, not the President, is responsible for declaring war. This was never done. 5. Chinagate. Communist China is a totalitarian government that yearly declares that America is her enemy. Therefore, when ultra-secret computer technology was knowingly transferred to the Communist Chinese, allowing them to target American cities with their nuclear warheads, this was more than just faulty judgment. It was manifest and flagrant treason. 6. Illegal campaign contributions.
I see the White House as like a subway. You have to put in coins to open the gates.
The words of Chinese Communist agent Johnny Chung. Known Communist Chinese agents Maria Hesse, John Riotti, Johnny Chung, and many others have donated large and illegal campaign contributions to Clinton Gore and to the Democratic National Committee, and yet these felonies have been ignored and swept under the table by the Justice Department. 7. The issuing of numerous and illegal pardons to criminals. Former President Clinton broke not only the spirit, but the letter of the law by issuing pardons to Mark Rich and those involved in Watergate and Filegate. Again, the Justice Department turned a blind eye to the law to protect the elite. 8. The following is a list that has been widely circulated on the internet since the year 2000 of people who have met untimely deaths. Their only common connection was a relationship with Bill Clinton. The statistical calculations of the following people dying in such unusual circumstances and all having a relationship to one person and having those deaths be unrelated is many millions to one. You be the judge.
Sheriff Gene Matthews was shot and killed in 1983 when he was looking into alleged drug activities of Bill Clinton at the Mena, Arkansas airport.
Suzanne Coleman had an affair with Bill Clinton when he was Attorney General in Arkansas. She was pregnant when she died of a gunshot wound.
Kevin Ives and Don Henry, two teenagers that were said to have fallen asleep on a railroad track in Arkansas in 1987. It was later determined that both boys were killed prior to being placed on the tracks. The boys' misfortune was that they had stumbled onto the drug running operation outside of Mena, Arkansas.
These people died because they knew too much about the deaths of Kevin Ives and Don Henry. Keith Conley, Keith McCassell, Gregory Collins, Jeff Rhodes, James Milam, and Jordan Kettleson.
Dan Casolaro, a reporter investigating a number of the Clinton scandals, was found dead with cut wrists in a bathtub in a hotel room in 1991.
C. Victor Reiser and his son C. Victor Reiser Jr., fundraisers for Clinton for President campaign, died when their private plane crashed in 1992 in Alaska.
Paul Tully, Democratic National Committee political director, found dead in a hotel room in 1992. No autopsy was allowed.
Paula Grober, Clinton's attractive speech interpreter for the deaf, died in 1992 in a one-car accident. She traveled extensively with Clinton from 1978 until her death.
James Bunch, influential Texan and a friend of Bill Clinton, died in 1993 from a gunshot wound similar to Vince Foster's. He was discovered to keep records of many powerful people who visited certain prostitutes.
Stanley Huggins, a partner in a Memphis law firm in 1993, died after his law firm headed an investigation of Madison Savings and Loan. His 300-page report has never been released.
Ex-bodyguards Major William Robertson, Colonel William Dinsberger, Colonel Robert Kelly, and Crew Chief Gary Rhodes all died in a helicopter crash in 1993 in Germany. No cause was ever determined.
Bodyguards Steve Willis, Robert Williams, Conway LeBleu, and Todd Medea, all four died in the Branch Davidian assault at Waco. All had nearly identical wounds to the left temple, although they allegedly died in combat.
Bodyguards William Barkley, Scott Reynolds, Brian Harney, and Tim Sable died in 1992 in a helicopter crash in Virginia.
John Wisson, former Washington, D.C. councilman, was found dead in 1993 from an apparent hanging suicide. Wisson was getting ready to go public with incriminating information about Bill Clinton.
Jerry Parks, head of Clinton's gubernatorial security team in Little Rock, was gunned down in his car at a deserted intersection outside of Little Rock. Parks had been compiling a dossier on Clinton's illicit activities.
Stanley Hurd, chairman of the National Chiropractic Healthcare Advisory Committee, and Steve Dixon, counsel to Mr. Hurd, both died in a plane crash in 1993. Their designated plane developed unexplained problems before takeoff, so they had to use another plane which just happened to be ready. In addition to serving on Clinton's advisory council, Mr. Hurd also personally treated Clinton's mother, stepfather, and cocaine-dependent brother, Roger.
John Parnell, Walker Resolution Trust Corporation investigator, mysteriously fell to his death from an apartment balcony at the Lincoln Towers in Arlington, Virginia. He was investigating a $50 million transfer from an RTC fund to Madison Guaranty Savings and Loan to cover up a $47 million embezzlement.
Paul Wilshire, Washington attorney investigating the Waco massacre and the drug and gun running outside Mena. He had just delivered a 100-plus page report to Janet Reno a week before he was found dead in 1993 of a gunshot wound to the head deep in the woods of Virginia.
Herschel Friday, attorney and Clinton fundraiser, died in 1994 when his airplane exploded in midair.
Kathy Ferguson allegedly shot herself in her living room in 1994. Her packed bags suggested she was about to go somewhere. She was going to be a witness for Paula Jones.
Bill Shelton, Arkansas State Trooper and fiancé of Kathy Ferguson, allegedly committed suicide by shooting himself at the grave of Kathy.
Ron Brown, former chairman of the Democratic National Committee and Secretary of Commerce, along with his trade mission group and some 30 other passengers, died in a plane crash in 1996 in Bosnia. Brown was on the verge of being indicted and had, prior to his fatal flight, made it clear that, if indicted, he wasn't going down alone.
Nico Jekurik, maintenance chief for the plane Ron Brown crashed in, allegedly committed suicide 3 days after Brown died.
Barbara Wise, Commerce Department staffer, was found dead in 1996 in her office, partly nude and covered with bruises. Police have been particularly tight-lipped about this case, and no cause of death was ever given. Official records show that Bill Clinton made an unscheduled return from Camp David to the White House on the morning of the day she died to personally pick up a book of poetry he needed to finish his inauguration speech.
Dr. Ronald Rogers was on his way to an interview with a London Daily Telegraph reporter to reveal incriminating information about Bill Clinton when his plane crashed.
Mary Mahoney, a former intern working for Bill